We're live, dude.
Just like that.
Just like that, man. You know what I gotta do, man? I gotta bring us in for us. Bang, 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 bang. What's up, everybody? My name is Christian Henley, and this is Big Talk with me, Christian Henley, your host. And today I'm very excited because today I'm talking with a wise man, and you're gonna learn that in a second. But his name is, I'll let him introduce himself.
GC Montgomery, Garrett Montgomery, officially.
Tell the people about yourself, bro.
Just background, yeah. I'm a filmmaker from Atlanta, write and direct. Also, as a day job, I produce commercials for basically the NBA. So I'm in a good situation. Live in Atlanta. I've been in Atlanta since probably 2000 when I moved there in high school and attended Georgia State with you and RJ and the rest of our fraternity brothers.
Right.
New info there.
Yes,
and,
yes.
So yeah, out to LA to premiere basically my short film in the Michaud Film Festival, which is awesome because it's going to be at the Chinese Theater.
So I'm curious, how did you get into filmmaking?
Always interested in films. That was a big part of my growing up. My parents were divorced, but every time we would go to my dad's house, like he was into movies and had old movies, and we would just watch old movies. And he had a select few, like maybe 15 movies, so we would just always watch those. And then he would be the ones to take us to the theater, every other weekend.
I didn't know your parents were divorced, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I have a stepdad who's been there since I was like 7. So
Okay.
I basically have like 2 dads.
And you live with your mom and your stepfather growing up? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So my dad was like a big part of my exposure to movies and like all different kinds. Wow. A lot of genre films, Bruce Lee stuff, crime stuff, whatever we wanted to see.
Right.
He didn't care. Like if it was rated R, if y'all want to see it, we can see it.
Yeah. And when you're saying y'all, you and your brother?
Me and my brother. I have a younger brother.
Same 15 movies. Do you know which, do you have 3 of those 15 that your father would let you guys watch on?
Bruce Lee. Like he had like a 6-pack of Bruce Lee that we watched over and over and over. Wow. Con Air.
Do you guys still talk?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we have a good relationship. I was born in Arkansas, which is where he is. And so we left Arkansas when I was 13. So basically,
you were born in Arkansas?
Born in Little Rock, Arkansas.
And so you moved at the age of 13?
Yeah, to Bakersfield, California.
To Bakersfield, California? Yeah. Okay, first of all, everybody, I've known Garrett for how many years now?
I don't know. This is
what, 10 years?
At least.
I don't know any of this about you.
Where do you think I was from?
I thought you were from Georgia.
Oh,
that's wrong.
I don't know why I see that as an insult. But I guess
Georgians used to be insulted. Dude, you're from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Until you're 13, then you moved to Bakersfield, California.
Yeah.
Why?
My parents, my dad getting promoted, getting jobs, and moving us.
Stepfather or real father?
Stepfather.
Stepfather.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that move like for you at 13 years old?
At first it's funny. Like when you're young, you just don't see that far ahead. So it was like, oh yeah, we're moving to California. That sounds exciting.
I moved at 13. That's why I asked you.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
But then, honestly, that move, it was like one of the most traumatizing things in my life, being separated from my biological father. And it's funny because as I get older, I realize the impact that had. And I didn't really realize it at first, but that was a big thing emotionally and subconsciously for me. And basically kind of been, for lack of a better word, separated ever since. And so our relationship is interesting because it's like we had, such a close relationship, and now it's so many years of just like phone calls or really text messages and the occasional visit, once every other year. So it's weird because I know you, but I don't know you.
And and this started at 13 years old.
Yeah. Because it's weird, and then it's like when I see him, and then my fiance met him, she was like, "You make so much more sense now."
Really?
Like your essence, like your soul, your vibe, the way you walk.
Did she explain what she meant by that?
Yeah, she was just like his vibe. He's very chill, like the way his mind, the way he walks, the way he moves. Like we're built the same.
You moved at 13. Your relationship with your father adjusted at 13 years old, and it has since adjusted. Do you think that filmmaking has anything to do with your relationship with your father?
Man, that shit that I think about, that's like that I've never really talked about, but like I associate my passion for film to my father.
Right.
The introduction and basically like film meant I'm with my dad. Like he likes film. Like it's a deep thing. It's probably so deep I can't even really.
When people do, okay, I don't want to put words in people's mouths, but when you make a movie, for example, I write sometimes, and when I write, there are certain projects, and really, all of them, when I write them, I'm thinking about one person in particular. Would this person find this funny? When you make movies, do you think about if your father would like it or not?
I don't. This is kind of unrelated, but I think about my very first like kind of directorial hero. I think would he like it?
So you look at your heroes.
Yeah.
Your artistic heroes.
Yeah. For my dad, I think it's more about, I don't know. I think I will, it's crazy. I think I will get to the end of my life and still think like, man, like hopefully in the next life, like we'll be able to like reconnect. Cause it's just, there's so much history that needs to be kind of like filled in.
Do you guys have these conversations?
No, he's a very like chill. It is what it is. It's not.
You feel like you can only get to a certain point. You're not gonna be able to reach. To be able to have
I feel like if I start talking about deeper stuff and emotionals and all and emotions, I think he's probably gonna try to be empathetic, but I don't know if that's really gonna. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you never you never thought about it. You
No,
never
man.
Never tried, rather.
Yeah. One time I wrote him an email. There was, it was probably the most vulnerable, the most transparent I've been in terms of like what I've been carrying around. Like I wish this didn't happen. I wish, we still had blah, blah, blah. And he has a very kind but short response because that's who he is. He's short on words.
Yeah.
And so I kind of took that as, wow, okay, so.
How long ago was that?
And maybe like 8-9 years ago.
I'm just reminded of when I did a similar thing with my mother. I was separated from my mother actually when I was 3 legally, and for like many years, and so our relationship faltered and just had it was rocky from there. Mm-hmm. And a couple of years back, I sent her like a very vulnerable text message. The response I got back from her was, I was laying it out like stuff I've not been able to get off my chest and holding on for years, deep resentment. And the text I got back from her was, I really love this iPhone that you got me.
What?
Because I gave her one of my old iPhones when I upgraded. And so when you say that and you got that very like terse, not as emotional, not as vulnerable response from your father, I just imagine like maybe you felt a little bit like I felt at that time where you feel like, damn, I can't do this again. I know for me, yeah. I keep doing it. A couple months ago, I did it again. I listened to one song. It made me think about how can I have resentment for the root of the tree and try to appreciate the apple. Meaning like my mother is a part of me. How do I have resentment for my mother yet try to like value who I am?
Yeah.
Because I am my mother. I'm an extension of her. And so there was no way. And I was like, wow, I have to get rid of this.
Yeah.
So I've tried to have this like deeply vulnerable conversation multiple times, and it seems to fall on deaf ears. But I think I'm recognizing that it's not for them to show me. I may not ever get the response from her that I wish I would get.
Yeah.
But it's more valuable for me to share with her.
Mm-hmm.
What I feel like I experienced.
I feel that, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's deepening my relationship with her.
Right.
Which at the end of the day, when I close my eyes for good, that is the most valuable thing for me.
Because at the end of the day, even if she doesn't respond the way you would like, if you say what's true to you to her, you know that she sees you more truthfully.
Exactly.
So that,
she gets to know her son.
It's funny because, like, this is the only thing in my life, and my fiance, we talk about this. Like, I'm a pretty chill dude. Like, I'm pretty unemotional, but that's just my nature. Like, I kind of see everything I approach naturally through an objective, it is what it is type of perspective. But my relationship with my biological father is the thing that, like, that hits me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that affects me. If I talk about it, if there's something in a movie that is touching on that or reminds me of that, like, bruh, like, I can just tell, like, there's a lot there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot inside.
And do you lean towards it or away from it?
Yeah, most of the time I lean away from it because I'm like, I don't feel like letting this run its course right now, which can go probably back to the conversation with him that I'm like, I'm not prepared for that yet, because also I know that he feels a way about how things went and he wished things would have gone differently because his wife now always tells me and, my fiance, like, that was one of the roughest times in his life. Like, she's kind of spoken on his behalf.
Wow.
And so it's kind of like, I don't know if I want to have this conversation with my father because I know that's going to be something I'm not going to be able to hold in.
Wow.
So, and I don't...
You're not prepared to like have that type of
it's like that's
catharsis.
a next level and maybe, and who knows if I'll be able to get if I'll have it in me one day to try that, to tackle that before.
So the two of you, it sounds like the two of you are leaning away from vulnerability And as a result, the two of you might be emotionally leaning away from each other.
And I think because, and I, again, like I am my father, like it's, and the way I think is like we can, but like we cannot. And like, what is it's a risk assessment. Like, what's the point of us just like this heart to heart? Like the relationship is still going to be the same. Potentially.
You think so?
I don't know. I don't even know why I said that because who knows? But I don't know. It's
fear, bro.
It is fear.
It's fear, bro. Let's just call it
straight out.
It's fear, man. What's on the other side? You have no idea what's on the other side. But I had a step in father figure from like 3 until like 12, maybe a little bit younger, whatever. Freddie Bass. Like I said, I was separated from my mom, and then I moved in with my grandmother for a few years, and then my grandmother moved in with my aunt, and my aunt was married to a man named Freddie Bass, and he was my step-in father from like 3, not until 11, maybe like 9, and to this day, you know how they say you have your parents' voices in your head, even to when you get older. The voice in my head is my Uncle Freddie, and when I moved to Georgia at 13, 14 years old, he lived in California. We fell out, similar to like kind of you and your father. We didn't really have the same relationship. It was here and touching here and there, very rarely, and then it just became nothing at all for many years. And recently, now that I moved back to California, and even like 6 years being back in California, I finally got reconnected with him, and I've been going over to his house, and I had to tell him. I said, dude, do you know that you're the voice in my head? Do you know that I'm so thankful that you are the type of man that you are? Because I could have had a completely different figure in this role in my life. Yeah. And, because they're like super congratulatory of like who I've become and, this, which I'm very thankful. But it's like, this is because of you. Yeah. In large part. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so we've had that. Every time I go over there, it feels like we're having this heart to heart. And I told him, I was like, we're not going to do this every time, dude. I'm not going to be super emotional every time I see you. And he's like, it makes me feel good every time, man. And so my father passed away. My biological father passed away in 2016, and that was a relationship just never actualized. Yeah. We live once, bro. Yeah.
Do you
life is relationships.
Do you have any regret about that relationship?
Of course I do. Of course I do. I mean, it is what it is, and my biological father had challenges that he was dealt with throughout his life, drug abuse, and that altered who he was as a person. Right. And there was a conversation that he and I had actually, very rare, brief conversation where he said, I didn't want you to be exposed. I didn't want to be this person around you, so I kind of removed myself. And so in a way, I guess I appreciate it. I've never touched hard drugs. I guess I could have easily, both of my parents. But sometimes an absence is an addition. Sometimes subtraction is addition. And so because of a subtraction on the part of like my mother, which was forced, and my father, which was voluntary, I received a village, a piecemeal kind of upbringing, where I got to pull from like my uncle, I got to pull from my aunt, my grandmother, my mother, learn from my father. And so, ultimately speaking, I guess I'm very thankful.
It's interesting because you're an amalgamation of like a lot of different influences in your family. So like,
absolutely,
I think that's what makes you. We talk about you having that thing of ability to connect to people easily. And I think it's because like you have a lot to draw from.
The benefit, now that I'm an adult, analyzing my upbringing and seeing that like my aunt, she came with the sense of affluence. Like she was definitely middle class, upper middle class. And then my mother, when I was younger, was rebuilding her life. She did very well before I was born. And then unfortunately got, into drug stuff, and her life began to kind of unravel in a way. And so when I was younger, she was rebuilding. And so, but then I got that experience. I would go have like monitored visitations with her. And then eventually I moved back with her as she was rebuilding. So it wasn't upper middle class any longer. My mother's a brilliant woman. And then so I think eventually she became just upper class, to be honest with you, for a period. And now she's working again. It's like, dude, you know what's crazy? Drug addiction, drug stuff, that's lifelong. So so going back to my point that I was just making, I used to go to meetings like Anonymous, those like drug rehabilitation meetings, and just to see the different classes of people, like be experienced. My aunt was like schmoozing with Malibu people with acres of land and stuff, and my mother was at these rehabilitation centers, like speaking and coming from the heart and giving me like real life, and I was seeing people fighting for their lives and surviving at a young age, so it gave me a balanced perspective, I feel like. And as an adult, I'm so thankful I got that.